I'm your host, Salim bin Mohammed Rafi, and here is your YouTube channel, Zamir Universal. In the going on for the last 4 years, when you look at it, the Gaza massacre and genocide going on for the last 2 years. When you look at the persecution and the largest open prison and persecution, besieging, cutting the electricity, water supply, bombing, destroying all the universities, hospitals, mosques, churches, roads, depriving them of water, food, medical aid, killing all the paramedics, the medics, the people, all the NGOs providing food to the Gaza. You wonder that what an animal we have become. Human is a social animal, but amongst those humans, there are more than 90% who are decent human beings, who have conscience, who have mercy on other people, but amongst them, you have less than 0.002%, a special breed of very, very prejudiced, cruelest most people on the world, and that is the Jews and the Hindus. Both of them, if you look at it, they have proven themselves that they cannot tolerate anybody else, but all Hindus, just like all Jews, are not the same. You have decent Jews who practice Torah, who follow Prophet Moses, and they have respect for other people and believe in pluralism, and they have been looked after by Muslims, and I think been treated well by even other people like Christians who've been living together in Palestine. These people came looking and searching for shelter and came, barefooted, without clothes, deprived from the leftovers of concentration camps and gas chambers of Hitler, the Second World War. When they were fed, they were given clothes, they were given shelter. Look what they have done. Exactly the same thing.
Where do the 6 million come from? They come from the imagination of the Jews. 2 and 2 can also be 6. 2 and 2 can also be 6 million. And the Jews run the newspapers and they run the television by the stupid permission of the Gentiles. The Jews today are now convinced that they're coming close to their Messiah. The stupid Gentiles, the godless Gentiles, will swallow it down because they've got no God any longer. They've lost all sense of truth, objective truth, historical truth. And they swallow the Jewish myth. Why do they swallow the Jewish myth? Because the Jewish myth is a substitute religion. Gentiles today are people godless and without religion, and the Jews give them a religion. Golgotha is now Auschwitz. The cross is the gas chamber. The Redeemer is the 6 million. Therefore the Jews are God. And the stupid, godless Gentiles are swallowing it down.
Israel has threatened the United States with, quote, unilateral action. That's right. Israel has released a statement over the alleged report that President Trump is going to recognize the state of Palestine. And in the statement, Israel threatened unilateral action against the United States. In the past 3 days, Trump has crossed 3 red lines for Israel. On day 1, he cut all communication with Netanyahu. Day 2, he made a deal with Israel's mortal enemy, Saudi Arabia. And number 3, he will be recognizing Palestine. And today, he made it number 4. You see, this is Eden Alexander, an American hostage in Gaza. But Trump made a deal to get him out of captivity. This is a deal that the White House didn't tell Israel about, and they didn't negotiate for any of the Israeli hostages, only the American. This is now the 4th day in a row that the president has gone against Israel, and all it took was 4 days for Israel to threaten the U.S. Make sure to follow me for, I guess, tomorrow's new update as the U.S. and Israeli connection is shattered.
President Trump is going to call for a state of Palestine as a UN member state. That's the breakthrough.
Now, this was just released a few minutes ago, Professor Sachs, from a closed session of the Knesset Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee. You're probably familiar with their committee structure. Prime Minister Netanyahu, quote, this is stated in Hebrew, but we used AI to translate it. I think we will need to wean ourselves off American military aid, close quote. If he said that, what does that tell you, Professor Sachs?
Well, that would indicate that he recognizes that the U.S. is going to pursue a different foreign policy, not to support his wars. This would be wonderful news. It might suggest that he has the advance notice that President Trump is going to call for a state of Palestine as a UN member state. That's the breakthrough that we need above all. If it happens, and if this quote suggests that, of course, we're reading a lot into it, but if it suggests that, that is phenomenal news. It's interesting, by the way, we should understand how many foreign policy initiatives President Trump is engaged in just this moment that look positive right now. And this is astounding. First is Ukraine. I think he is maneuvering to get that war ended, and he's doing it very successfully. With the U.S.-China today, the agreement to roll back the tariffs that went to the stratosphere a few weeks ago, this is very good news. With the president intervening in the India-Pakistan battle of the last few days to bring together a ceasefire, with the president overriding Waltz apparently, and certainly Netanyahu, to say, no, we're not going to have wars with Iran. All of these are peace-seeking initiatives. It's amazing. And if it's true, President Trump will make history. It's very close. He needs to understand and really needs to see that if he says two-state solution, no nonsense, this is the real thing, all his other goals will be achievable. And that is a remarkable, remarkable fact.
But think of the ramifications of this quote, assuming that Netanyahu said it. I think we will need to wean ourselves off American military aid. Where are they going to go? Who else is going to give them what the U.S. gave them?
I'll tell you where they would have to go. They would have to go to normalcy, to diplomacy, to peace. There is no military alternative for them other than the U.S. And if President Trump finally stops the U.S. backing of these military adventures, they have no other place to go. What they will have to do is wean themselves off of a 30-year addiction to war, and have to go to real diplomacy with the Arab neighbors, real diplomacy with Palestine. But most importantly, and I think this is the key point, President Trump can bring about peace by recognizing the state of Palestine.
Right.
Because that will bring the entire Arab world, which has repeatedly said that's the precondition for normalcy. It will bring the 57 countries of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation all to say, yes, this is what we have been saying for decades. This is finally coming to reality.
Will it bring about a collapse of the Netanyahu government?
Most likely. But, you know, in this world, it's so important to understand the world cannot be organized for the survival of a particular incumbent, especially one that has made egregious errors, if you want to be, if you want to be
charitable,
I don't know, very charitable about it, or egregious crimes, if you want to take a different approach. The world cannot be organized for the sake of a few individuals. It can't be organized for the sake of Netanyahu. It can't be organized for the sake of Zelensky. Yes, it should be organized for the sake of the Ukrainian people, for the sake of the people of Israel, for the sake of the people of Palestine, but not for a particular government. And if the government is extreme, if the government is pursuing
that live in peace let's have two states over there. You came there as refugees, so accept your status there and live in peace if you want to. Get the bloody settlements out of that place and put them in the skyrise and vacate those farms, all those orchards, all those olive trees, the grapes trees, all those same, restore the old names of Palestine and live in peace. Surrounded by all the Arabs and Muslims, you have plenty to live in peace. Life is short, so don't deprive your people. And the few politicians who, for the sake of their built-in hatred, you punish the rest of the population. Exactly the same thing is happening in
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें। उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर